Hello, we are back for round two on this Monday, September 4th, this Labor Day. And now we're talking about Big Brother 25. I'm excited. I mean, there's so much going on in the house. I'm excited to get into it, get into
So
some spoilers and all that. So, yeah, I guess we shouldn't waste any time, right? Let's kick this baby off. All right. My name's John Dunphy, and I'm joined, as always, by my festy bestie. I know that's usually Kyle's what Kyle says, but I figured I'd change it up. So, festy bestie, Gina Morgino, and we are here to talk about Big Brother 25. If you want to find us on the socials, you can do so at Strat Chat Pod. We would love to have you following us on there. If you haven't done so already, check us out on all the social media platforms. You'll find us. Okay. So let's get into this episode. We kicked off with kind of the house, right, trying to figure out who had this power that just saved Jag to nullify yet another unanimous vote. Jag was almost about to go home by a vote of 10-0. Matt said, no, I'm not letting Jag go. So Jag, we found out, was safe. And yeah, people seem to be, they thought maybe Jag, right? Because they know that he played in the thing. And obviously, if you're going to save yourself, like that's probably the most likely thing that you'd think at first. But I think people started to pick up on Matt. And then we saw Matt obviously just go and tell Suri that it was him and that he had the power.
I was going to say, I was surprised by how many people knew about this, because from my understanding from the feeds, Suri and like that alliance was the only people that knew. Like, I knew that he had told Suri, and I knew that Suri had told, I believe, maybe I didn't know that. I don't know. I knew that he had told Suri, and that was all I knew. I didn't realize that he had told Jag ahead of time that he was going to save him. I didn't realize that Jared was talking to Jag about the fact that he might be safe. Like, there was so much about this that I hadn't seen on feeds and hadn't seen people talking about in relation to the feeds, that all I knew is that Matt had told Suri, and she like put the plan in motion with him.
Right. What did you think of Jared being like annoyed that Matt didn't tell him that he had this power? It's like Suri was telling him. I know, I can't stand it.
Like, my thing with Jared in this situation is like, Jared got mad. What was it? Suri had told Jared that they were going to be able to save Jag and said, don't tell anybody. And then Jared said, okay, great, I won't tell anybody. And then he told Jag, I know that we have numbers to save you. Don't tell anybody I told you. So Jag went to Suri and was like, I didn't think anybody else knew about this, but Jared just told me about it, which made Suri get mad at Jared because he told. But then Jared gets mad at Jag, being like, dude, I told you not to say anything. Now this puts me in a bad position. Why would you say something when I told you not to say anything? When Jared also was telling him when he was told not to say, like, it was just so bizarre that, like, Jared did exactly the thing that he told Jag not to do, but it's only a problem that Jag did it. Like, it's so stupid.
It's really annoying. And like, and then when Jared realized that he messed up, going to Suri and being like, oh, don't worry, I'll clean this up. And I feel like he didn't clean it up anyway. Like,
no.
Really annoying.
Especially honestly. Because like, it's one thing just to like, if Suri gives you game information and says, don't tell this to anybody, like, don't cross her and don't tell it to anybody. But also, like, Jared, have you forgotten that you and Suri aren't supposed to be working together, and you're supposed to be working with like, what do you think this is going to do for you? Like, they're not supposed to be on the same alliances.
Right. It's just bizarre. Jared, he's I don't even know if I want to say he's doing too much, because I just have no idea what he's even doing. You know what I mean? Like,
this whole house is chaotic, but at least like there are pieces of it that feel like organized chaos, where Jared is just like, I'm gonna do whatever, you know?
Yeah, like, but I feel like he thinks he's making like so many great moves. Like, I think, was it this episode where he was like, oh no, it might have been the previous episode, right? Where he was like, I'm trying to be one of the best of all time or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
It
like, well,
also,
then
like,
maybe like,
it,
go
it
ahead, go
hurt,
ahead.
it hurt my heart so much to see in this episode Suri, like, in that DR being like, Jared is just blossoming into like this incredible player right in front of my eyes, and it's like, Suri, you have no idea how bad he actually is at this game. Like, please someone save her.
I'm telling you, it's like multiple times every single episode that I just think the thought pops into my head. Like, I cannot wait until Suri and Jared are watching this back together.
She's
And
going
Suri's
to
just
kick
giving
his
him,
ass.
yeah. But yeah, so that was pretty much what happened, I think, right before like the HOH comp. But then we had this comp that was kind of like a trivia,
Mhm.
two people go up, whoever gets the question right, they stay in, whoever gets it wrong is eliminated, and then the person that got it right also picks the next two people to go up and compete. But we had some like guest appearances in this one, some BB odd couples.
Yeah.
This competition, did you enjoy the
So, like,
buddy?
I typically love these knockout competitions, but they're fun when you get to watch them live. Like, at the end of the episode, someone just got evicted and now there's a knockout competition. And you get to watch in real time as bing, bang, boom. They're picking people to go up, they're picking the opponents, and you get to watch them kind of like show all of their cards to everybody of like, all right, this is who we're trying to like match up with each other. Here's who we're trying to knock out. And it's fun because it's fast paced and like you're at the edge of your seat the entire time. Where in this situation, not only was it not live, but it was like the longest competition I feel like I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, why did we need 7 Jesse letters? Why did we need like I don't know what was happening in this competition.
Yeah, the first like Jesse letter that we got did give me a little chuckle just because it was like a love letter to
Yeah, the
himself or whatever.
first one.
But you're right though. This felt like really long, like it dragged on
So
forever.
long.
But and at first I was getting very excited about where we were headed though, because I think Suri mentioned it. The only people she didn't want to see win were Cameron, Red, or Bowie, and I think they were like the first 3 out or something like that.
I believe so, yeah.
So when we ended up with Jared winning the HOH, I was so disappointed. I was like,
but
of
course, it's like, who did Jared go up against? I don't remember the first matchup. The second matchup was Jared and Suri.
And Cameron.
Yeah. Oh, that was a whole other thing. Yeah, so the first matchup was Jared and Cameron, and we heard Cameron talking about how, despite the fact that he was the outgoing HOH and still gets a chance to play again because his entire week was erased and somebody actively screwed him by using this power to erase all of the work that he had done, that he wanted to throw this competition.
Yeah, that was
like,
weird. I did notice that. You're right. Yeah,
of all times to throw a competition, it is not when you were just screwed by someone and you have no idea who did it.
Like, right.
What are you talking about? So, first matchup, the person who was throwing the competition. Second matchup was Jared and Suri. Suri on feeds has also been talking about how she threw the competition. And then the third matchup was Jared and Izzy. And Jared didn't win, Izzy lost. So, like, did Jared really win this HOH, or was it, like, handed to him by accident?
Right. He got lucky. He got super lucky. And we were talking about this before. Like, it definitely looked, I have a feeling you're right that, like, if what we were seeing was the letters in the correct order, they were seeing it backwards. So it was probably just a mess up
because
in the
we were
moment.
seeing ABC. So they were looking at CBA, assuming all the buttons were, like, in the right place. So there were a couple of people that hit C when the answer was A, or hit A when the answer was C. I think that just the orientation of the letters like screwed a lot of people in this competition.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. It's just think about how different this week would be right now if Izzy had just hit the right button. But instead we get a Jared HOH. I can't wait to see the rest of the week play out too, because the feeds have been like, I know there's been a lot going on and Twitter has been crazy and it's so hard to keep up with. But I don't know.
Feeds this season in general have been all over the place because this is such a chaotic cast, but feeds over the last like 48 hours have been unreal. Like
Yeah.
I have like a list that I wrote down before we came on of like things that I remember happened that I want to talk about when we get into feed stuff, but like I am confident that I have forgotten half of what's happened in the last 2 days.
Right. Right. Oh, God. But all right. So let's see. What do we got here? What happened? Oh, so this was actually funny to me too, because we had after the competition, you had Red and Cameron like talking about how they felt like Jared was someone they can talk to like game wise and stuff. I guess they were feeling like pretty comfortable with him. But Jared then started having meetings with people, and Cameron and Red seemed like two of the first people. And all of a sudden, it seemed like Jared. I don't know if I missed something else, but it seemed like Jared took whatever Cameron was saying about just being like, yeah, I mean, like if Red has to go up, like because obviously Cameron and Red are talking, but then Jared went to Red and saying like, "Oh, Cameron's throwing you under the bus," which like I didn't really get the impression that Cam was throwing Red under the bus so much as being
Literally,
like,
it was
"I have
like
to say what I have to say."
right, because that's the thing. Like Jared, I'm pretty sure straight up asked Cameron, like, how do you feel about sitting next to Red? So of
Yeah,
course, like if that is the way that that question is posed, you're going to say whatever you have to say to try to make
right,
sure that either you're not put up, you're like whatever it is. So like he's saying things like, "Oh yeah, if I win the veto, I wouldn't use it on him. It's totally fine if he goes because if you say, "No, Red's my boy in this house, I can't lose him." Like obviously I would want to save him. You're both going to end up on the block together. If you convince Jared, no, if Red goes up, like that's fine. I'm willing to lose him. I wouldn't use veto to save him if that's what it came down to. Now you're allowing there to be a possibility of like Red being on the block with somebody else, and then you would use the veto to save him. Like that's just kind of
right,
like you have to game the system. But like Jared took that, fed the information to Red, and now over the last couple of days, especially, it's been like this super dramatic like friend breakup between the two of them of like I thought that I trusted you so much and you said all these things about me behind my back and it's like just you're playing a game. Like of
yeah,
course you have to lie. That's the game.
right, right. It's Big Brother. It's Big Brother. Like Jared has a mother who has played. No, this is the first time playing Big Brother, but has played in games where there are similar situations. Like you've obviously watched her on those shows. Like, do you really not see like what's happening here? Like, are you really that like? Oh, Jared is so
But
frustrating to watch.
even still like it's frustrating from Jared, but also like it's frustrating on Red because it's like, yeah, maybe Cameron threw you under the bus and said a bunch of like BS to Jared about how like he wouldn't save you if you were in trouble. Maybe he
Yeah,
was lying so he has the opportunity to save you when you are in
yeah,
trouble. Like
right, right. But I couldn't take all the crying from Red and the DR and stuff like
oh,
that. So I'm like,
there will be more over the next few episodes, I can assure you.
oh boy. Wow. All right. So obviously Jared lets Cameron and Red know right away that they could be going on the block. Their little bromance is cracking. Um, okay. I saw a lot of people complaining about this. Felicia's mic packs. It was very funny, but
Oh,
that was a long time ago. That
that
happened a
happened
long time
week
ago.
one. Week
Yeah.
one. Especially like it happened week one because they specifically were like, oh my God, this happened 3 times. And as
Yeah.
we know, it has happened many more than 3 times. Like
It was like a
it's a funny segment. It is. I
right.
enjoyed watching it, but when there's so much else happening, why are we wasting time on a segment from 3-4 weeks ago? There is
Right.
so much happening right now that I can't even make heads or tails of it. You know?
Right. It's so hard to keep up with, and instead we're getting footage from week one. It's bizarre. I don't know. Like I said, I enjoyed it, but I feel like I would have enjoyed it if it was in week 1 or 2 or whatever. Like, why are we just seeing it now?
Right. And like I know I just said there's so much happening in the house, like game wise. Why are we wasting time on like old segments? What I do need them to put in is a segment of Felicia sending Mr. B her grocery list. Have you been seeing these clips? She's done it like 3 or 4 times, being like, "Excuse me, Mr. B, we need more cake mix because it's Red's birthday and we don't have enough to make a full cake. Thank you, smooches." And she'll do this like every couple of days, being like, "This is what we need. Thank you."
Oh, Felicia is like, Felicia, I'm so glad that we have gotten to see Felicia, gotten to
I would
meet
watch
her.
her do anything,
Yeah,
literally anything.
I completely agree. Um, what else did we have in this episode? We had an interesting Corey and America conversation out in the hammock.
Mm-hmm.
They've been continuing to flirt, and their showmance has been blossoming. But America revealed to Corey that she wants to put Suri up on the block. What do you think of that? Is that the first time we've really heard anybody mention even putting Suri up?
On the episode for sure. I'm trying to think of like feed stuff if we've heard other people talking about it, because this I think was also a conversation from like last week. I don't think this was from this week, but America definitely is a lot more in tune to what's happening in the house than people give her credit for. Like I
Hmm.
feel like both in the house and sometimes on social media too, I feel like people kind of write her off as, and both of them, as being like more invested in the showmance than in the game. But
Hmm.
like America's reads are really, really solid.
Yeah.
You know, she just
Yeah.
she doesn't really have the opportunity to share them as often because for whatever reason there are a lot of people in the house that like will not game with her, will not talk to her, do not like her. So Corey kind of is the only person that she does trust on like this deeper game level, but she has some
Yeah.
solid reads on what's going on.
Right. Yeah, I like America. I really do. I would be very interested. I actually, obviously, I knew going into last night's episode, like who already had won the HOH or whatever, but like
Right.
I would have really liked to see an America HOH.
I know.
But it could still come. It could still come. We'll see. So well, I just had something in my brain that I wanted to ask you about, and now I don't remember what it was. Damn. All right. Well, so yeah, we ended up having Jared put up put up Cameron and Red,
Uh-huh.
and that's where we are with our initial nominations for the week. Is there anything else from this episode? Because I have other things in mind that I want to talk about with you, but
Oh, there are
I
definitely
feel
more
like,
things to talk
yeah,
about, but
but I feel like they're all feed related. That's why I'm trying to remember
yeah.
if there was anything else from the episode in particular that you can think of that we should talk about.
I honestly don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, then we will move into some spoilers because we know things. Things have been going on, and we know about at least a few of them. So if you do not want to be spoiled, if you do not follow BB Twitter, don't watch the feeds, this would be a good time to sign off because we're going to get into things that haven't happened yet in the edited episodes. So we'll give you a moment to sign off, and if not, then we just assume that you're going to stick with us for the spoilers. So this is your moment, all right? Bing, 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 wee-oo, spoiler time,
Oh my god.
Actually, you know what? Before we do this, because I'm realizing
No,
now that
no,
we're
no,
getting far
no.
into this, and it's a very special day, of course.
Manwan Monday.
Love hearing Jacob Hacker's voice.
I
on
will
that
say
now,
it's gotten slightly more acceptable now that it's Jacob. I will accept
Oh,
it
wow.
a little bit more because it's Jacob.
So you're saying when it was my voice, it wasn't acceptable?
I'm not saying that. I'm also not saying it.
Wow. I do still have the one with my voice in here uploaded. So just watch it. Just watch it. I won't do it now, but okay. So let's talk spoilers. Do you have anything that you're like just dying to get out right now? I guess we should talk about, so we know that
it's like where to even begin. There's just so much going on.
Well, I guess like like this stuff we can get out of the way, right? Because I feel like there's all the stuff on the feeds and on BB Twitter, but we know who won veto, right?
Mhm.
So Jared initially put up Cameron in red. Sadly, Cameron won the veto.
How annoying. How annoying.
I know. I'm so mad. I wanted him out so bad. And like,
yeah,
I'm not like a huge fan of Red, but like, I'm interested to see what Red would be like without Cameron in there.
I will say I'm not nearly as irritated or put off by Red as I expected I would be, yet he might get worse. But like at this point in the game, I was expecting to be over him. And like maybe it's just the fact that we see so little of him. But like he really hasn't been irking me as much as I thought he would.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you said irking you, because recently I posted a tweet during an episode talking about how much I was irked by Cameron, because he is someone that is irking me. Very
Well,
irked.
Cameron's awful.
Yeah. I've been seeing a lot of stuff about like weird comments he's been making to America and stuff. How like, oh, if we get to the jury house together, there's no cameras and stuff like that. Like, really
it wasn't
weird
that
stuff.
it wasn't talking about him getting to jury with America. He made it as a comment like to America and Corey, being like, oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it. There's no cameras in the jury house. So when you get there, like everything is fair game. Then he also made a comment to them because like I find this to be so irritating because there are 2 showmances happening in the house right now. One of them just likes to like cuddle and be cute and like at most, maybe when the cameras are off, they might have kissed one time, maybe allegedly. No one's really sure because no one saw it happen. The other showmance has actively been having sex all over the house. So the fact that people are so like hypersexualizing Corey and America in the house is very, very bothersome to me. But like there was another comment that Cameron made where I guess they were like, Corey and America were lying in bed together and they were just like snuggling like at night. And I guess Cameron was sleeping in that room and he made a comment about how like it's really hard to sleep when there's porn happening in the bed next to me, wink, wink, and like making like those kind of comments to them. But then there was one thing that like really, really set America off that that Cameron said. And she's been like alluding to it in the house that like, oh, Cameron makes me uncomfortable. He said this thing. But every time that whatever this comment is gets brought up, feeds change, feeds cut, cameras change, something happens.
Yeah.
So there was something that he said that to my knowledge, no one really knows exactly what it is, but we've heard enough of these other comments that like you can kind of assume what it probably was related to.
Right.
He said something to her too at one point, like, I don't know what the context was. Maybe she was a little bit cold or something, but like he said something to her, like, you know, you could put on more clothes. You could just wear more clothes. And it's like, it's so gross. Everything he says is so gross.
He really is gross. He's very gross. And it really is annoying to me because like we saw the way that CBS reacted when Luke said what he did and they got him out of the house and we said, great, that's good. But like it's so weird to me that like they cut the feeds anytime America even starts to talk about this. Like it's so weird to me. Like Liz says something here. Cameron apparently also said something about her being hairless.
Yeah, I have not heard anything about that or seen anything about that, so I don't know what that's in reference to.
Oh God, he said that in a creepy way. It was out of nowhere, absolutely nowhere, Liz says. Really weird, really uncomfortable. Yeah, Cameron's got to go. God, I'm so annoyed that he won this POV. Mm-hmm. And because he came down, we know that the veto ceremony happened. Cameron obviously used the veto on himself, and the replacement nominee was Jag, right?
Which there was a lot of like target roulette happening before we settled on Jag. It was going to be America for a while.
Why do you think it was going to be America? I'm curious because I feel like I've seen other people out there saying that, but like, do you know why?
A lot of people are really put off by America, and it's so confusing because it looks like every time that Jared goes into the diary room, he comes out suddenly really wanting to target America. So people are wondering if there is some kind of like, there's layers to this because people are wondering if like maybe the diary room is trying to push him in that direction. The conspiracy is to get America out of the house because there is this whole like Cameron thing happening. So like, just get rid of her. It's fine. So they don't have, rather than having to reprimand. Right. So that is one of the conspiracies happening right now. But like specifically, I think it was 2 days ago. It's so hard to keep track, but Jared was really bothered saying like, oh, America's been talking about me and America doesn't like the way that, you know, I'm talking to people in the house. This is like what prompted him to say the word that we know that he has said about her. but like he was running around being like, no, like America's running her mouth. She's talking about me and like the way that I interact with people. And like she doesn't like my game and she's coming for me and she's coming for Suri and she's coming for all these people. And like it came kind of out of nowhere after he was in the diary room. But something that I find very interesting that somebody tweeted is like, is there a possibility that because people on BB Twitter and social media and what have you have been so vocal about not liking the way that Jared speaks to people and talks about people and treats people or like treats women in the house or anything like that, is there a world in which production tried to tip off Jared that America, the country, doesn't like the way that he speaks to people, and he took it as America, the player, doesn't like the way he speaks to people?
Right. I could see that getting confusing.
Because in the very beginning, when I was trying to keep track of all of these like live feed update like accounts or whatever, and like just people tweeting about it, I was like, I don't understand where this is coming from. This isn't making sense to me. And once I read that, that made sense to me.
Right.
So it, in my mind, it's either that or there was some kind of like targeted questioning that the DR was giving him to like create a segment around like, oh, look at how good America's reads are. This is how America is thinking and what America's thought process is. And they were like doing that thing where they're like, oh, Jared, so what do you think about the fact that, you know, the power was used this week? Oh, what do you think about, you know, America voting people to use this power? And he took it as like, oh, somehow America had something to do with it. Or even like asking about like what he thinks America thinks, like the person. And then it became like, because of the way that they were targeted, like questioning him about this, he put pieces together being like, oh, they're asking me so much about America. Maybe America's saying something about me. Like there are so many layers to this of what could have happened.
Right.
But even like as recently as I believe it was this morning, it was 100% going to be Jag is the replacement nominee. Jared goes into the DR. Jared comes out of the DR. Oh, we got to get America. We got to target America. Talking to Suri, like, I don't know, America should be the target. It's like, what is happening in these diary room sessions that all of a sudden, every time he leaves the diary room, he wants to target America?
That is weird. That is really weird. And it's just annoying. God, Jared, just I'm so over him.
He's
so
all over the place.
Yeah. So what did you think? 'Cause I know that Jared and Corey had a big blowout, right? I think part of it was because of the word that Jared used to describe America. But the reason that Jared was saying this at all was because for some reason he was convinced that America was going to throw the veto competition or something like that.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Yeah, they had chosen players for the veto competition, but the competition hadn't happened yet. And Jared had decided that America is going to try to throw the veto competition based in literally nothing. No one had said she was going to throw it. She never said she was going to throw it. He just said, oh, how annoying would it be if America tried to throw the veto competition? Oh my God, America's going to try to throw the veto competition. And started going on a tear throughout the house, as if there was a fact that like America has already thrown this competition that has not been played yet.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
So weird.
I forgot that happened.
It's very weird to me. I don't understand that. I guess there was some kind of thought that Jared had, I guess, that like America has thrown other comps, so of course she's just automatically going to throw this one. Like, because I think people saw the deal she made with Cameron and considered that like throwing it, I guess, or whatever. But like,
yes, but like I find that so irritating, especially coming from Jared, because Jared lasted in that competition for like maybe an hour, and America lasted in that competition for 14. So literally, shut up.
Yeah. I mean, this is the first time that Jared has won anything, this HOH, and he won it by accident. And and you're gonna give other people a hard time saying that they're throwing this, and that if America throws this competition, which I have no evidence that she's actually gonna do that, then I'm putting her up and she's going home. Like, it's just so ridiculous to me.
It's bizarre. It is so bizarre.
Especially when we've seen him just like so careless in some other competitions, like the one that Heisem won by accident because Jared just couldn't be bothered to read all the clues. He goes, oh, I saw the number 4. This one has a 4 in it, so I'll pick that one. And it's like, they both have 4 in it. Like if I was in your alliance and I found out that it came down to that and you just like didn't bother to read the clues, I'd be way more pissed at you for that. Like, than even like throwing something on purpose.
Right, because that's not like I lost the competition. That's I didn't care enough to pay attention to it.
Yeah. Yeah. So Liz says here, it's crazy because he became enraged when she got picked for veto, and I guess that's when he called her the R word.
Mhm.
There was a lot of discussion about this too. I don't understand. Like we mentioned before, Luke obviously going home, CBS doing the right thing. Once that that word came out of Luke's mouth, they got him out of there as quickly as possible. And I know there were some people on Twitter and stuff saying that they felt like Jared should go home for using the word that he did. Do you think? I know that like Big Brother does have this policy, right? There can be no hate speech against minorities and people with disabilities. Anybody in a group, group like this. So like, do you think that action should have been taken against Jared here? Because it doesn't seem like anything is going to happen, and it just honestly it boggles my mind. It makes me uncomfortable because I feel like the R word gets used so often out in the real
Mhm.
world. Like I hear people say it at work. It makes me so uncomfortable. Like I mentioned to you before we started streaming, like, I've had family members that have worked for AHRC and worked with a lot of people that have autism and stuff like that. And like, I understand that, the word that Luke used has a way more historical significance and like that kind of weight to it. And CBS absolutely did the right thing, but it's such a weird thing to try to compare, I guess. It's an uncomfortable topic to even bring up, but it's like that word is not okay, and it boggles my mind how like okay people are with using that word
Mhm.
on like a everyday basis, just saying it out in public, people around, like it's not like it's no big deal. I don't know. Do you think that action should have been taken against Jared here?
I mean, so in my opinion, like I think it is all just totally unacceptable. And I
Hmm.
think that at the very least, even if Jared wasn't going to be removed from the game, there should have been some kind of penalty for him and some kind of public mention of it within, either the show, the house, whatever it is, being like, hey, stuff like this isn't tolerated. Like you all have to keep yourselves in check. We can't keep doing that. You cannot do this. It's not acceptable. And like
Yeah.
punish him in some way, even if it's not an ejection, just like some way to show like, hey, if you continue to do things like this, there will be consequences, even if it's just a warning, something. My unfortunate take of the situation is people keep citing the statement that CBS made of, oh, any hate speech won't be tolerated. It'll result in ejection from the game. The same thing that was being posted when they expelled Luke. And the reason why they made that statement in the first place was because in All Stars 22, people thought that they might have heard Memphis using the N word on feeds,
Mm.
but it was like jumbled up in other audio. So production, claimed they listened to it, they isolated the audio, they went back and forth, and they did not find any evidence that he actually said it. But if he had, there absolutely would have been a punishment and he would have been ejected from the game. Look, see, here's our statement. If that hate speech actually had happened, he absolutely would have been ejected.
Hmm.
Well, I'll fast forward to this season and it happens. And people are like, all right, well, you said if it happened, then you have to eject him. Like, that's what you said in your words.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, I don't want to say that this is the case because it sucks if it is, but like it felt like production kind of like put their foot in their mouth and they were like, all right, well, shit. I mean, we said that we would do it, so I guess we have to do it. And they were ejecting Luke because they used that excuse previously to try to like sweep something under the rug or whatever it is, or say that it wasn't real. So I unfortunately didn't believe that they would actually take this one as seriously,
Hmm.
because the reason why they took Luke so seriously was because they set a precedent by saying, no, we're not going to do anything now. But trust me, if it was worse, we absolutely would have. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So when Jared actually used this word, was this not actually? Cause I've been seeing some people say that like his use of the word. I mean, I could be totally wrong. Was his use of this word not on the feeds? Because I was seeing a lot of people saying like they only saw him apologizing for using the word. Um,
I personally have only seen the conversation that he had with Corey after the fact, being like, yeah, I shouldn't have said it. You're right. Like Corey, like getting mad at him and getting defensive, being like, that was fucked up. You shouldn't say that to her or to
right.
anybody else. And then Jared
Yeah.
being like, no, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have not seen the clip of him saying it. It doesn't mean it's not out there. I have no idea if it happened on feeds or off,
Right. Right.
honestly.
Yeah, because I couldn't find it either. It was just like the apology for using it, which to me feels like, oh, Liz saying it wasn't shown. So,
Mm.
and I was wondering if maybe that has something to do with it. Like, kind of like what you were saying, like there was accusations that Memphis used the same word as Luke, but production didn't, kick him out. And they said it was because they went back and they isolated the audio and all that stuff. And they claimed that they couldn't come to a conclusive decision on if he said it or not or whatever, and that was like their excuse for it. And I'm wondering if like that's kind of the excuse here, is that like we didn't see him say it, so like we can't punish him because we didn't actually see. I don't know. I don't know if that's what their thinking is.
This other comment from Liz is something that's been coming up a lot too, which is it possible that maybe Jared is not suffering some kind of a consequence because his whole reason for being on the show is the twist with Cirie? And, whether you want to say production manipulates the way that the game works to try to get a certain winner to the end or not, it is possible that like maybe ejecting Jared would be bad for Cirie's game. So we have to go through mental gymnastics to try to find a reason not to expel him.
Right.
I
wonder, do we know at all if Cirie is like aware? Like, I wonder what Cirie's reaction would be to like finding out. Because if I would think that it maybe not, maybe I could be totally wrong.
I haven't seen anything, but I don't know.
Right. Like if Corey was so upset about it that he confronted Jared about it and Jared actually apologized for it, like I wouldn't be surprised if other people heard about it. And I'd be curious to know what Cirie's reaction is to being like, Jared, what are you doing?
The only time that I saw it referenced was in that conversation with Corey. So I don't know. I don't know who is or isn't aware of it. I don't know in what context it even happened, honestly.
Right.
I honestly don't even know if like he called America that word to her face or said it about her, maybe when he was talking to Corey, I haven't seen
we don't
details.
Really have a full context of everything. But I don't know. And Liz also was saying that she thinks protection is protecting people because of Luke getting kicked out, because they don't want to lose several people. So they're kind of helping people by like protecting them and like she says here, cutting the feeds to protect Cameron, even though he's saying all this really creepy and like weird stuff about and to America.
Even right before we came on, I saw a tweet of somebody saying, I don't know specifically what comment they were looking for, but they were going back to find a clip of Cameron saying something creepy to America and Corey. I think something that happened on the hammock. And they like rewound the feeds to the point where it happened. And that section of the feeds has just vanished. It's just not there. Like they went back to like the timestamp and it's just suddenly not there. And they're like, I don't know if this is a glitch or if something was removed.
Wow. That's pretty crazy. That's really screwed up, I think. I think that's really messed up. It's like you got to just be like taking a video screenshot of like all of the feeds constantly to like keep CBS accountable. Like, oh, that's just crazy. If they really did that, like it was something that was on the feeds that everybody had already seen.
It was literally just like a quick tweet that I saw right before we came on, so I didn't get the chance to like dig any further into it. But like it looked like they had a screen recording of them like rewinding to the point that it would have happened and being like, no, it's literally just gone.
Yeah. It's weird. It's so weird. And it's so messed up if they're doing that because it's like, it's such a clear indication, yet another indication that like CBS knows that whatever this person did or said was wrong. Right. And they have to get rid of it to try to avoid any blowback. Because if they didn't really think that the person did anything wrong, why wouldn't you just leave it in? So like,
and the bigger problem is the fact that like it appears, regardless of, what side of this it happened, if they're talking about the actual person or the country and Jared misconstrued it or whatever, it appears that every time Jared goes into the DR, he leaves wanting to target America. And throughout the week, more and more people are over America. I don't like America. We have to get America out of this house. And it's like, okay, well, are you not only sweeping things under the rug in regards to Cameron, but also now making it so like, rather than Cameron leaving, you just get rid of America, because if you get rid of the person who's uncomfortable, then the problem goes away, as opposed to just getting rid of the person making her uncomfortable.
Yeah. I hate it. I hate all of it.
It's gross.
Well, I'm glad that we didn't end up with America as the replacement nominee.
I was really literally as early as like this afternoon, it was still going back and forth, and I was very genuinely worried that she was going to be the replacement.
Yeah. But I'm also not thrilled with who we did get in Jag.
This house does nothing but flip-flop around who they want to target. Earlier in the week, like, when Cameron first won the veto, I think they were talking about even putting like someone like Bowie up as the replacement nominee because they were like, just put a pawn there so we can get rid of red. Our target is red. No matter what, we're getting red out of the house. Now all of a sudden, like, I hate to say it, but Jag is gonna get casered real bad. Like real bad.
It's just weird to me too, though, because you had people like Suri trying to get the votes to save Jag last week. And Jared obviously didn't want to go along with that because he didn't want to lose blue. But then when Matt comes with this power, like I feel like then all of a sudden I understand why Suri is not going to put the fight up of like, well, I'm not going to get the votes anymore because I know that we can save Jag anyway. So like,
right.
So now to see the fact that like Jag might be the one that is going home this week after he was just saved by this power, like.
Well, it's also, and I don't want to put the blame on Jag because I like Jag and I wish he was staying longer, but it's also like, you have now been given a second chance in this game. You saw that you were voted out unanimously, and now you have another chance. Why are you still playing everything exactly the same as you were playing it last week? Now is the time where you're like, all right, clearly what I was doing was not working for me. How do I switch things up now? Who do I need to make deals with? Who do I need to work with? How do I go about game conversations differently? You have to change something. You were just voted out unanimously of the house. Miraculously, you get to stay. You cannot play exactly the same game that you've been playing the whole time. It didn't work. You got evicted.
Right. It's, oh God, I feel bad for him. Like, it's going to be such a bummer for him if he gets voted out again, like 10-0 too. Like, could you imagine being voted out basically 20 votes to 0?
And unfortunately, the way that this cast works, I think that's probably the reality, and I hate it.
We need to have a vote that's not unanimous at some point, right? Like, it's got to happen at some point.
It's also like
unreal.
wild that this is the kind of house that it is, because I feel like everybody is so chaotic and erratic and all over the place, and everybody's aligned with 1,000 different people. How is this not the season that we're getting more split votes? Even just like a rogue vote thrown in somewhere to try to cast suspicion on somebody. Like somebody being like, oh, I know we're supposed to do, a unanimous vote, but I'm going to vote for the other person and blame it on somebody else. How are we not getting more of that gameplay this season?
Right. And like, it's funny because of all the unanimous votes that we have had, especially now after like we're going into week 5 or whatever, right? Like that would be like really interesting. Even just one rogue vote after this many unanimous votes would spice things up, I think.
So much paranoia.
Yeah. Jason is here. Jason wants to know where Kyle is.
Kyle had better things to do.
Oh my God. Kyle was attending the Renaissance Fair today. So he's been out and about. So he's not with us. He'll be back though. He'll be back later this week. So man, all right. Is there anything else from feeds and stuff? Are we forgetting about stuff? I'm sure there's a million other things that we could.
There's absolutely more happening on feeds that we're forgetting about. No matter what we say right now, there's a lot of things happening on feeds that we're forgetting about.
Yeah. I did see people mentioning that the feeds are down right now. I don't know. I mean, they could be up again by now, but the last I had seen was that they were down. So I don't know. But
I mean, what's in my memory, that's all I really feel like I can comment on. I know that there are so many other things that happened over the last couple of days.
Yeah. Well, we'll be back on Thursday, so we can always talk about it then.
Hopefully some of it will have made the edit for Wednesday.
Yeah, no, seriously. I feel like some of these edits this season have been pretty good, and then some have been pretty lame. Like, especially with what we know, how much is going on. Like, we got the longest and like most boring HOH comp like ever. That took forever, and then we were getting footage of Felicia dropping her mic pack in the toilet from week 1. Like, how is this all you have 4 weeks into the game? This is all the footage you have. I mean,
forget like 4 weeks into the game. This entire season so far, there has been so much filler in the episodes where literally up until like, I think it was halfway through last week, we hadn't gotten like any Izzy in the edit at all. Where if you're watching feeds, Izzy is this season. Like, there is so much happening. So like, I don't understand how every single week we have like so much vote flipping and who's going to be the target. I don't know, this person. Like, you go through every single person in the house. Everyone's gaming so hard all the time. The moment they wake up to the moment they go to bed, so much game talk is happening. I don't know how we're getting the majority of filler in these episodes. Yeah. Showmance is so fun and so great and so cute. I love them. Great. Wonderful. I don't need to see them every episode for like 20 minutes of the episode. Give me the game conversations that's happening. I know that Corey and America have been cuddling every day. That's great. Love that for them. I don't need to see it every episode. Give me game talk. There is so much happening in this house.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. But all right. Anything else for the benefit of the community? Anything related to Big Brother this week or the episode last night?
The only other thing that I did just remember is that I don't know why Big Brother doesn't put like light switches in the rooms and like the only way for like the lights to turn off in the bedrooms or whatever. You know what I'm going to say? The lights to turn off in the bedrooms, like the only way is like for everybody to be asleep, because Miss Felicia is very tired. Miss Felicia loves to go to bed. But in order for Miss Felicia to go to bed and have all the lights turned off, everyone else also needs to go to bed. So she has become the bedtime police, and she's going to everybody in the house. You all need to go to bed. I'm tired. Everybody needs to go to bed. And now it doesn't matter if there's night owls in the house or not. Everybody needs to go to bed so Felicia can go to bed. And I don't understand why that is the way that this is working, because the way that is going to put a target on her so fast. Like, leave me alone. I don't want to go to bed right now. I am grown. I will set my own bedtime. But Felicia is walking around like, you have to go to bed. I'm tired. It would drive me up a freaking wall.
That's really funny, though. Yeah, I think I would definitely, if I was in this game, I would need to bring like an eye mask or something.
Mm-hmm. I do have one other question, actually.
Lay it on me.
I think we've seen her in maybe 2 episodes for 30 seconds, but like, there's not a lot happening with Miss Bowie Jane. She is like essentially not in the house. There's literally nothing happening. You barely see her on feeds. She's in no game conversations. And I do wonder, because she said I don't remember if it was like in the first episode or in her intro package or whatever it was, but she had mentioned that she doesn't really know American Big Brother super well, but she has watched Australian Big Brother a lot. And I know that, I have never seen Australian Big Brother, but you and Kyle covered a season of it while I was away. And I am very curious, is the game in Australia that different, that like just gaming in this sense doesn't happen, that she just doesn't know the way to navigate this version of Big Brother?
So it has changed, Australian Big Brother. It has changed a fair amount. Like when Big Brother in Australia kicked off, it was a lot like what we had like season 1 here, like no real competitions, just people hanging out, getting to know each other. And then, people getting voted. I think it was by like America too, like that they would get voted out and stuff like that. I don't remember exactly, but it was very different. Like it was just people hanging out. Like, tell me about your life, and then like your personality needs to shine through, and that would, that's what moves you forward in the game. This most recent season of Big Brother Australia, they tried to make it a little more like the American one, where we had, because I don't even think they had HOHs in the past in the Australian one. So like now they have HOH competitions. They have, people getting put on the block for nomination, and they would have multiple evictions per week that were done in a different way, where like, if somebody won the HOH competition, they immediately go in and put up the people that they want to put up on the block. Like no game talk, no like days going by of like, trying to save yourself or whatever. Like immediately put people up. And then like later in the week, it was like the house would vote on who they wanted to go up on the block. And I think like the HOH was still safe or whatever, but they weren't the ones like making the nominations. So like they tried to make it a lot more strategic and have a lot more competitions, but that wasn't how it always was. And Australia has actually responded like very negatively to the change, which I think is part of the reason that the season that they have now, like they were trying to change it up and do like a Big Brother Australia, like couples, like showmance type thing.
Right.
And that's continued to get pushed back. And so the game has changed a lot, and Australia apparently doesn't like it. So, because the ratings were down pretty low. Kyle and I loved the season, and like we got to see what was cool about this season for us too is that like we got to see a lot of those former vet players that played on like the older version of Big Brother Australia that were now coming into this new game. So there was a bunch of them in there, but then you also had people that had never played Big Brother before. So it was like an interesting mix. And we loved the fact that like there were different kinds of competitions and different types of evictions, and like it was really cool. But apparently Australia was not having it. They were not really into it.
Because I have been wondering that a lot, like, is like, you know, people refer to like players such as Bowie Jane as like wallpaper or furniture, like they don't really like do much in the game. And it's like I've been wondering a lot, like how much of that is her just not understanding that we play it maybe differently than she's used to seeing it, you know?
Yeah, it certainly could be. Like if she's watched a bunch of Big Brother Australia but didn't see this past season, she might have thought she was walking into a game where they were just kind of be like hanging out and talking every day, you know, like I don't know. I would hope that if once she got cast on the show, though, that like she would have checked out like a season or something to see what it was all about, but maybe not. I don't know. All right. Well, I guess that's it, right?
To my memory, that's all I got.
Yeah. Our night without Kyle. He'll be back on Thursday, so don't worry, everybody. But what do we have coming up? I just said this. I should know what we have coming up. Thursday night, 11:15 p.m. Eastern time, we will be talking about the whole week of Big Brother this past week and talking about the eviction and who goes home. Friday at a time still, to be determined. We'll figure out when. Friday we'll be finishing up our coverage of Claim to Fame, which we know we're a little behind on that, but it's been busy, so we're finally getting back to that. So look out for what time that'll be on Friday night. And then after that, we'll be back Monday, talking another episode of the Challenge USA and a new beginning of a new week, of a week in the Big Brother house. So
hopefully with a more exciting HOH winner.
Oh, yes, please. And I'll just let Jason know, because I see his comment here. Who won veto? It was Cameron. Cameron won the veto.
Jason, we already talked about this. You are late.
Yeah, he came in a little late, so but he's
that is
returning.
Not our fault.
Yeah, he's a returning viewer, so I figured I'd let him know. Okay, well, that's it, right? Did I say everything? All the stuff that we have coming up, right? I don't know. I'm getting tired. If you want to check us out on the socials, please do so. We would really love to have you there. So you can check us out at Strat Chat Pod on all the social media platforms. We're there. You can find us at Strat Chat Pod. It's going right on the bottom of the screen right now. You can see it exactly how you're supposed to type it. All right. So we'll be back with you soon. Yeah, that's it. All right. We gotta get out of here. All right. Bye.